Welcome back to Fight Network. Cody Saftik now joined on the line by a man who is perhaps one of the greatest American stand-up fighters of all time. Name it, kickboxing, Muay Thai, does some MMA, has done some boxing in the past. It's Joe Schilling. Joe, thanks for stopping by the show today.
Hey, no problem. Thanks for having me on.
Now, June 24th, you're back in action at Bellator Kickboxing 2. It's a rematch against Hisaki Kato. Now, obviously, you guys have some history. You've already fought the one time, that being in MMA. Now it's in kickboxing. You're a guy that's had a lot of rematches in your career. So for this one, is this a fight that you've actively gone out looking for, or is this kind of something that just fell onto your lap?
It was a fight that Bellator wanted. I think that it was a fight that the fans needed to see and want to see. And, Bellator and Spike TV are all about making the fans happy and putting on exciting fights. So it was a fight that they wanted to see, and I'm all for it. I'll fight pretty much anybody on the planet that they tell me to. So.
Now with Hisaki Kato, let's say that they offer you this exact same fight and it's back in MMA rules. Is that something that flatters to you, or you don't really care?
Yeah, I think it's probably only fair to him if after I knock him out next week, if we do it again in MMA. I think honestly that I'm sure he'll disagree with it, but I think it was he landed a Hail Mary. He won the lottery that night, and he caught me with a punch, and he won. So I think I would give him a rematch in MMA if he wanted it after this one.
And let's talk about the main difference here. Obviously, a lot of people always say, well, lucky punch in an MMA. And it's like, well, you know what? If this is kickboxing or this is Muay Thai, if they're wearing boxing gloves and those small little punches, they don't really slip through. Now you're obviously getting this kickboxing rematch. And the differences between kickboxing and MMA are huge. But do you think that the advantage for yourself in kickboxing is going to be that much more than the advantage he had in MMA?
I do. I think that his advantage in MMA was his experience in MMA versus my lack of experience in MMA, and I think that my experience in kickboxing versus his lack of experience in kickboxing was so. That being said, it's a fight. A fight is a fight. Anybody can win anytime. A guy off the street can knock me out with a punch if I don't see it or I'm not ready or I make a mistake. So it's you can't really get too far into specifics. The MMA fans like to really, it's like who wins in a fight, Superman or Spider-Man? Who knows? Anything can happen. But I think that stylistically wise, my advantages in MMA or in kickboxing are pretty large. Difference between this fight and that last fight, as far as that goes, with MMA versus kickboxing, isn't even so much the small gloves; it's more the takedown. When he knocked me out, we're talking about a split second reaction difference. He landed that punch and then knocked me out. My left hook that I was countering with went right over his head. He just barely got in before I did. So the difference is in MMA, if somebody's 6 feet away from you and they sprint, they actually run at you. You think your actual reaction is if they're going to take you down. Why else would you be running at me? In a kickboxing fight, that reaction will not be there. I will not be thinking that he's trying to take me down whatsoever. So that's going to be a big difference. And, without the takedown and full rules in that kickboxing match, I'm not worried about the takedown. We're throwing punches, kicks, and knees, and that's the only thing I'm going to be thinking about.
So, being that you're a stand-up specialist, there's not a whole lot of guys that want to stand with you. So where do you see your future in the sport? You could take MMA fights, as you mentioned. It doesn't really bother you who you fight, but, wouldn't you rather stay into kickboxing and Muay Thai and just kind of have these fights where, this guy can't really take me down?
Yeah, obviously I prefer MMA over that, but, I love to fight, and I think that I'd fight for PBC if they allowed me to. If they offered me a fight for PBC boxing, I would jump all over it. I'm a fighter, and I enjoy fighting, and even the fights I've lost in MMA, I had a great time doing it. I love to compete, and I love being under the lights and putting on shows for the fans. So if the opportunities work out this year and there's I have a time between kickboxing fights and there's an exciting matchup for me in MMA, then I'll definitely do it. But if I could get paid tons of money and only had to kickbox, I'd be all for that as well. But it's about the matchups and the exciting fights. Everyone keeps asking me if I want to fight Carvalho again, and honestly, I don't want to fight people that are boring fighters. I don't want to be in boring fights. I like being in exciting fights. I want to fight people that want to fight. I want to fight people that are going to bring out the best in me. I want to be in wars. I had 3 fights with Bellator MMA last year. My first one was knockout of the year. My second one was the only boring fight I've had in my career, and it was against Carvalho, and he made it a boring fight. I still think I won that fight, but it is what it is. And then my third fight was also knockout of the year. I was on the losing end of it, but it was a knockout of the year. So 2 out of 3 fights were the most exciting knockouts of the year. So I just want to be in exciting fights.
Does it motivate you seeing past opponents, have success? As you mentioned, with Carvalho, it's a split decision fight, one that could have kind of got either way. He doesn't do anything for the most part, but, a very close fight nonetheless. Your win, you knock out Melvin Manhoff. This guy could viably be the current Bellator champion had that decision gone his way. So when you think about it, it's like, you know what? I fared pretty good with the current champion. I beat the number 1 contender, a guy that could be the current champ as well. Doesn't that motivate you to be like, you know what, I'm hanging with the best guys already in MMA. I'm hanging with the best guys in kickboxing. I could literally just take fights across any platform and have some success. Does it motivate you that extra bit, seeing past opponents have more success?
Yeah, it does. I feel like, people get so caught up in wins and losses, and the fact of the matter is if Melvin Manhoff and I fight 10 times, he's going to win some and I'm going to win some, and they're all going to be great and exciting fights. I think that Carvalho should not be the champion right now. I think Melvin Manhoff should be the champion. I think it was obvious that Melvin won that fight. I feel really bad for Melvin because, everyone's like, oh, well, just give him a rematch. And people don't understand the amount of blood, sweat, and tears and pressure that we put on ourselves to get in there and perform on that fight night. And when these judges and referees make mistakes, it's not like you just redo it. I'll just do it over again. It's really disappointing. And Melvin deserved that win, and just like I deserved that win in my last fight, and I just deserved the win when I fought Carvalho. But it is what it is. But yeah, when I see, everybody was like, "Oh, Joe's not going to do MMA because he got knocked out by Hisaki Kato," and you're absolutely right. I beat the guy who's the current champion, and I beat the guy who's the number 1 contender right now. So I'm not too far from being a champ or being in a title shot contention. So, in a perfect world, I knock out Hisaki Kato. I go and I fight and be the first Bellator middleweight kickboxing world champion, and then maybe Carvalho and I settle it again. But again, I don't really want to fight a guy that is adamantly trying to make all of his fights boring. I'd rather be in a guy that's going to bring out the best in me, and I feel like. I don't know. Not a big fan of Carvalho right now. I really feel like he should be cut, to be honest.
Well, what is exactly the hottest performance for him? And as you mentioned, you've hung with all these guys already. And when you look at Glory Kickboxing, you got Simon Marcus, the champ. This is another guy that you not only beat the third time, but, in pretty spectacular fashion, to say the least. When you think about your own career and your legacy, it's been cemented. As I said right at the top of the show, you are one of the greatest American stand-up practitioners that's kind of ever been around this sport. Do you feel like you are being overlooked in that your legacy is, it's a fantastic legacy, but people might be overlooking you in that, oh, Joe Schilling, what's he up to lately? Do you still feel like you have a chip on your shoulder and something to prove? Are you okay with everything you've done?
No, I'm very proud of my career and what I've done. I think that the people that matter and people that actually will follow the sport, people like yourself, know where I am and where I stand with all that stuff. I think that, Simon is only the Glory middleweight champion right now because I wouldn't re-sign a contract with a shitty promotion that treated me like crap. Because I left them and went to Bellator where they treated me properly, they wouldn't let me fight for the title. They wouldn't let me fight Artem Levin, who I also beat. I beat Artem Levin. He wouldn't fight me for the title, so he fought Simon Marcus. I had beat Simon Marcus. Then they wouldn't let me fight Simon for the title. They gave him a guy that Dustin Jacoby, who was 3-7 or something, and got a title shot over me by beating a guy on making his pro debut. I think that the politics that come with the sport, with promotions like Glory, it is what it is. And really, for me, it's about legacy, like you said, and it's about money, And I think that I've done more for the sport of kickboxing than I think anybody else in the U.S. history. And I think that when it's all said and done and I don't fight anymore, I think that my name will definitely be cemented as somebody who changed the landscape of the sport here, and I'm very proud of that.
Now you've kind of had a rough deal, so to speak, in that you have a flourishing Muay Thai career, and then Muay Thai in the States never picks up. And as you talked about, shitty promotions and sometimes not paying their guys. I mean, the premier Muay Thai organization in the States, Lion Fight, I mean, having all types of issues on their own. Then you have Glory, they have all types of issues on their own. Then, you kind of been bouncing around. Now you're with Bellator, I mean, one of the world's best promotions, someone that you can actually rely on for a change. Is it almost a breath of fresh air knowing that your checks are going to clear, knowing that you're going to have fights, knowing that you're going to have these opportunities against high-level guys?
Absolutely. And even then, that's exactly how I feel, as a breath of fresh air. And it's a breath of fresh air to know that finally there's real promotion with real backing and a real vision and a real understanding of the sport, trying to promote the sport. And I think that, for the longest time, that's been the biggest issue, is that every time there was an opportunity for somebody to build the sport, they dropped the ball. And I'm just really proud and happy that it's Scott Coker and Spike TV and Bellator that's got the ball down, because I know they won't drop it and they'll do it right. Looking back on Lion Fight and Glory, I can't help but look at that and say I built Lion Fight. Lion Fight was the premier Muay Thai promotion in this country because I said it was when I was fighting for it. I think that the three biggest shows, highest grossing shows for Lion Fight that got them their actual TV deals were my fights. Glory would have never taken off or caught on in the U.S. if it hadn't been for me and what I did for that promotion. And that's not even being cocky, it was just a fact. I was the first middleweight champion for Glory. I was the first American to ever win a global combat tournament of any style with Glory. I was the number one ranked middleweight in the world with Glory throughout my entire career with Glory. And so, yeah, I take a lot of pride in that, and I feel like, if it wasn't for Lion Fight, I wouldn't have ever gotten to Glory, and if it wasn't for Glory, I wouldn't have gotten to Bellator. So, I'm still looking at the negative of those things. I'm very proud of what I've done with my career, and I think the people that actually know, I'm not talking about the fans that tune in periodically, but the people that actually pay attention to the sport know exactly what I've done, and I think they're proud of it as well.
Couldn't agree more. You're somebody who obviously has nothing less to prove, but as a fan and as someone who pays attention to the sport of both MMA and kickboxing, I'm just super excited that you finally got a platform to show your skills off on a regular basis. Thank you so much for taking the time, Joe Schilling. Joe, back in action June 24th at Bellator Kickboxing 2 in a must-see rematch. Joe typically does pretty good in rematches, so this is one you definitely do not want to miss. Joe, thanks again for taking the time, and best of luck to you.
Hey, thank you, man. Take care.